Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the 1759 podcast where we talk politics and governance while having a drink. Today, we take on another topic. What difference will it make if Nigeria's federal government files a landmark case at the Supreme Court challenging the legitimacy and legality of the 1999 Constitution, raises 12 grounds, and joins Generals Absalami Abubakar, Olusegun Obasanjo, and state governments as respondents? You might think this is incredible, but please walk with me as usual. We are going to a very sensible place. Why put the 1999 Constitution on trial? 1. Sovereignty of the people. The sovereignty of the Federal Republic of Nigeria lies with our people. I think we need to establish that. Secondly, authority. Nigerian people have the sole legitimate authority to create a constitution. Having said those two premises, let's look at the authorship of the 1999 Constitution. The Constitution was drafted and promulgated by a few military men, aided by a few lawyers. I'm sure we are all aware of that. Now, there's a phrase, "we the people," in that constitution. However, there was no events recorded in recent history where the Nigerian people made such affirmation. That is a fraudulent statement. Moving on, let's go to the 1963 Constitution. This is the last constitution created and legitimized by the Nigerian people as represented by democratically elected leaders. That is a fact. You may want to ask why. We will get there. But before then, we had a military coup in 1966, which was a treasonable act based on the provisions of the 1963 Constitution, which affirmed Nigeria as a democratic society. Military decrees ruled Nigeria from that 1966 till 1979. It would not be out of logic to conclude that all military decrees and acts and decisions taken by the military government from 1966 even up to 1999 are illegal, null and void. Because if unsuccessful military coups are seen as treasonable felony and the coup plotters are jailed or sentenced to death, then we must also acknowledge that and give effect to the fact that all successful military coups against democratically elected governments in Nigeria are also acts of treasonable felony. So let's also look at the 1979 Constitution. That Constitution, don't be surprised, is also illegal as it was promulgated by the decree of an illegitimate military government. Though there was a Constituent Assembly in 1978 supervised by the military government of Olusegun Obasanjo, but that was not a democratically elected government, and that Constitution produced is also illegal. Now, going to Olusegun Obasanjo, on assumption of office in 1999 as president of Nigeria, one would have expected that he conducted a referendum for the people to give legitimacy to or reject the Constitution. That's the 1999 Constitution. But that never happened. I guess because it's also part of the old military era. He had a Constitutional Referendum Act of 1962 to perform this duty. That act set the framework for constitutional amendment in Nigeria and was used in the amendment and passing into law of the 1963 Constitution. Anyway, still continuing. Legitimacy. Some might want to conclude that, okay, if we are challenging the legality and legitimacy of the 1999 Constitution, then we are saying that all acts of the people of Nigeria since 1999 are also null and void. That is not true. On the matter of legitimacy, all acts of the Nigerian people as regards the 2023 general elections and all other general elections since 1999 are legal because we have established that sovereignty lies with the people. So if the people of Nigeria are the ones who carried out those actions, even on the basis of the 1999 Constitution, all their actions, decisions are legal. Now to the question on Nigeria's unity. This is also settled. Nigeria's unity is already determined and sealed by the people in the 1963 Constitution. So the matter of Nigeria's unity is not questionable. This we all agreed democratically in 1963 because in that Constitution we agreed to remain as one, even though we went on to excise Northern Cameroon from Nigeria. We went to war in 1967 as caused by the immaturity of the then military boys. But the truth remains that we agreed to stay as one based on the last constitution of 1963. So having established all these bases, what would make this case a landmark? The executive arm of government, headed by the president, should be the petitioner, and we have a reference. We remember the case of the local government's autonomy, which the federal government took to the Supreme Court, and on which the Supreme Court ruled in its favor. The main substance of the case was on the absence of democratic governance at the local government level, and the apex court agreed. The federal government can use same approach, but this time on a bigger subject, which is on the legitimacy and legality of the 1999 Constitution. On locus standi, the federal government has the locus standi because it is headed by the president, and the Nigerian people elected him as the president of the country. So taking that constitution to the Supreme Court is actually acting on behalf of the Nigerian people. I think we have set the foundation for the next episode, where there is a question we need to answer to take this further. The question is, what prayers should the Attorney General of the Federation be seeking of the Supreme Court in challenging the legitimacy and legality of the 1999 Constitution? Please follow us on WhatsApp, the 1759 podcast. You can search the channel, drop a comment. We are also on YouTube, Spotify. Let's bring ideas together. Let's challenge the status quo. We are where a group of patriots led by Chief Emeka Ayaoku met the president to seek constitutional reforms and recommended a way forward. Ours is faster because if the president really wills it, he has the power, the executive powers, to challenge the legality and legitimacy of the 1999 Constitution, even though he swore to it. We just have to correct the illegality we've been carrying since 1999 because Nigeria is not working in its present form. We can outsmart all the politicians and go straight to the Supreme Court to challenge that legality and then force a new constitutional conversation about Nigeria. Then we create a new constitution that will fit the Nigerian situation, fit the Nigerian context, and make our people happy. We will continue that conversation in our next episode. You should be interested in what prayers the Attorney General of the Federation should be seeking of the Supreme Court. We don't intend to throw away the bathwater and the baby. We will save the baby. Have a great evening and thank you for joining. Don't forget to have a chill drink. You all deserve it. You've had a great day in a tough economy. Cheers.